Alright guys, so today I have an entry into vjose32's May contest. Now for this contest you have to do a deck review of your worst or least favourite deck that you own. Now because this is essentially a luck contest where this video with this deck review in is entering me into a draw at the end of the month, I'm fairly sure that I could probably just create a really badly made deck review, but I won't do that of course. Because firstly, I don't think that Victor would like that at all, and he probably wouldn't let me enter into the contest. And secondly, because I'm going to try and entertain you guys, even though some of you might not like deck reviews, but I just want to show you how bad this deck of cards really is. So I'm going to try and keep this video under about 5 minutes, although I've already wasted some of that time. But let's get into this review right here. So let's begin with the front of the box. Now on the front there is the back design, which is just nice and simple, red and white with some floral patterning in the center right here, and there's a black border around the edge of the box. Now I would have thought that this would be on the back of the box, seeing as most card boxes have the back design on the back. But if we turn over to the back, this is what I would expect to be on the front. It says the name of the cards across the front, Excelsior, and at the top it says what I presume would be the creators or the producers of the deck, Del Negro, and you can go to www.delnegro.com if you want to check out their website. At the bottom it says Poker Leggero, and I've left the price on here. It was €7 when I bought it a couple of years ago in Italy, and there's this little shield at the bottom with clubs, hearts, spades and diamond pips inside. On this side it says Excelsior, Del Negro and Poker Leggero, and it says exactly the same thing on the other side of the box. On the bottom there's the barcode and lots of different information and address, and it says Made in Italy at the bottom, and on the top once again the creator's name or the company's name who created it. There's a little cutout so you don't have to dig your thumb right into the box, so you can just pull out the flap, and it's just a regular square flap, and inside is a completely plain cardboard box. So the box is actually not that bad. There's two little white stripes across the top, which give it a bit of a finesse, I guess, and it's quite good color coding as well. So that is the box. Now let's move on to the cards themselves. So the cards themselves are actually quite a lot smaller than the box, which isn't exactly a great design trait to have. But let's jump straight into the back design right here. So I previously showed you it on the box. Let's take a little bit of a closer look. You can see there's still the same floral pattern in the center, and there's actually tiny flowers in rows going around the outside of this. It's not a bad two-way back design, but the borders are fairly thick if I compare them to the Fontaine borders. You can see they are almost twice the thickness, if not a little bit more. So personally I'm a fan of thinner borders because in fans it allows you to see the back design a lot more clearly. But it's a little bit disappointing that they have such thick borders, because it is really not a particularly bad back design. So the first card you see when you open up the pack is this one right here. And I presume this would be for a card game of sorts, with all the tables and the numbers, so it could either be for scoring or teaching you how to score the game. As you can see, all the writing is in Italian, so if you know any Italian or can translate even the whole card, then maybe you could let me know in the comments below what this card is for. But again, I assume that it would just be for teaching players how to play a particular card game. The next cards I'll show you are the two jokers. They are pretty much the same apart from a couple of color changes. So this first one has 4 stars with circles around them in each 4 corners, and 4 aces underneath the actual Joker's face. The Joker is wearing a jester hat, and there's some interesting shading on the face of the Joker, and just underneath it says the Jolly Joker. So that's the first Joker, and the second one, just as I said before, has slight differences. You can see the hat has slightly different colouring, and the red stars and the red background behind the Joker has now been changed to black. So now let's move on to one of the number cards. In this case it's the 6 of clubs, and once again there are indices in all 4 corners, but the actual clubs themselves seem fairly similar, although the font for the numbers does seem a little bit different, to my eye at least. Next we have some court cards. Here is the Jack of clubs. As you can see, the actual faces of the cards are different to standard bicycles, and again the font seems slightly different to me. So there's the Jack of clubs. The next one is the Queen of diamonds, and once again the faces are different. But another thing which is a little bit strange about this deck is that the cues are touching the border around the image. I'm not sure if you can see that well on the camera, but certainly that's a little bit strange, because there is definitely enough space to have moved them out a little bit. Finally, I'll show you the King of Hearts, and the Hearts index does look a little bit different to standard, and once again you can see the K is just touching the border around the actual king himself. So there's some court cards, and finally I'll show you the aces. So I have 2 aces here. First one is the Ace of Spades, and it's actually quite a nice ace design. Slightly different shape to regular, and with a little pointy part at the top, and again some nice floral patterning in the centre of the ace. Nice and just regular black and white Ace of Spades. Has some Italian writing in the centre, which I'll try and read upside down. It says Teodomiro del Negro, and then underneath it says Trevi/O, or Trivio. And you have a spade pip, a heart pip, a diamonds pip, and a club pip. And this club definitely reminds me of the Anglo playing cards, because I think that's exactly the same pip that they use in that deck. The second ace I'll show you is the Ace of Hearts, and again this reminds me of the Anglos, because like the Anglos it has writing at the bottom of the Ace of Hearts, and once more it says Del Negro, Treviso, or Treviso, made in Italy, and Poca Leggero. So hopefully you can read that. And those are the 2 aces that I'll show you. Now let's move on to how the cards actually handle. What I think really lets these cards down is the handling. Now, by the ribbon spread, it wouldn't look all that bad if we compare them to the Fontaines, which have a fairly even spreading. The Excelsiors also have quite an even spread with a couple of clumps here and there, but overall they don't seem that bad. But if we take a look at the actual finish of the cards, you may be able to see a shine on the cards if I reflect the light off them, but really there is barely any finish at all. I highly doubt that this would be a finish that is used by the USPCC, because if you really listen, you can hear how papery these cards are. Also, the stock is a really thick stock, definitely a lot thicker than even B Casino stock, which really doesn't let you bend the cards much further than this. And again, if we compare this to the Fontaines, if we take a card from here, you can really hear how much thinner the stock is. So if we take a look at the fan of the Excelsiors, you can already see how the finish really lets them down. You end up with massive gaps in the fan like this, and that just really looks dreadful. You can only see the faces of about 7 or 8 cards. And again, if we do a hand-to-hand spread, you can see the cards just clump up massively like this. Once more, if we compare these to the Fontaines, we'll do a little bit of a fan right here. You can see they spread out nice and evenly, and this is even after a hell of a lot of use over the last few days. And again, if we do a hand-to-hand spread, they spread out nice and evenly. So I really do think it's just the finish on these cards that lets them down so hugely. If we do a riffle shuffle, despite the really thick stock, they're not all that bad at the riffle shuffle. So it really is just the finish that lets these cards down so much. So I know that review went quite a bit over 5 minutes, but hopefully you guys found it informative and you enjoyed it, just so you could see how bad these cards really are. And you might even think that they're clumping because I've used them a lot, but this is probably only the 2nd or 3rd time I've used them. So really the worst deck of cards that I do own. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment, and also go and check out vjose32's channel so you can have a go at entering this contest as well. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you all again next time. It says 147 out of 500, so I guess it's the 147th package that he packaged. So it's really great to receive 3 of these packs of cards. I know some people